Salute Knicks Nation. The streets are back, buzzing. Tonight as we take two, we had some technical difficulties with the earlier stream, but the party comes right over to the next stream. Apologies for that, guys. YouTube was just completely bugging out, and that's never happened before. So who knows what that was, but nevertheless, we are back for the second part of tonight's show. We'll try to do a real rapid-fire, quick news roundup as we get into the second part of the stream. But welcome back through the streets. El Tango, David, Buzzer Beater, Johnny. What's good, everyone? Appreciate y'all. YouTube just absolutely crashed out, and look, the volume was crazy as well. So once again, apologies. That's never happened before. I was streaming live on X and YouTube as well, so possibly some issues, I think, on the YouTube side, but my end, it was completely normal. You know, the software on the back end was still going, was still streaming. It's just simply on the YouTube side, something completely bugged out. But yeah, we talked about the Knicks assistant coaching situation. Looks like they're going to add O'Connor to the staff with Ricardo Foyce. Pablo, unfortunately, not coming, deciding to stay in Minnesota. The Knicks obviously taking their time to fill the final veteran spot right now. I do think the holdup is probably a couple of guys that they're speaking to, alongside obviously Landry Shamet, who I think is a 70% chance of getting that spot. But I do think that it's going to come down to what kind of role is that player going to have, and are they going to be okay with being situational? Because we do have a lot of talent on this squad, and obviously with Huck Porty right now as possibly that 10th guy, the guy that we bring in has to be okay. But I was about to shout out Buzzer Beater, who said, I want a point guard to come in, and let us know who you'd like to add, fam, out of all the guys who are available. Is it Markelle Fultz? Is it Gary Payton? Is it Malcolm Brogdon? The thing is, how are these guys to get minutes? That's just my biggest question. As we just hit on this last part before moving on to the next segment. But I think Simmons, I'm okay with him going to Boston. I think his defensive versatility was appealing to me, but when you look at a guy like Diawara, McCullough, those guys he could possibly block the pathway to Pacome Dardier as well. Who would you like to see come in as a point guard if you do want us to bring that guy in? Obviously, I know Deuce is more effective off the ball. We're going to talk on Deuce in the next segment. We do have Jordan Clarkson, who's a very underrated playmaker as well. I do think he's going to play, 25, to 30 plus minutes. A great question from Johnny is Kolek going to be really okay moving down the depth chart with another point guard? That's true too. I think he'll be okay for another year, Johnny, because he's still, a younger player on a rookie contract. But at some point, you have to prioritize. Are these guys gonna get an opportunity here, or is their rookie contract just gonna end and they're not gonna get many opportunities? Just like Obi, just like Kevin Knox, just like those guys. J Dub salute says Delano Banton. He's a 25-year-old and a 6'8" point guard. He could play multiple positions. I think that's really appealing to me as well. But again, I think he's going to block the pathway to possibly some Pacome Dardier minutes. You're paying him a contract as well. I'd be cool bringing in DeLon Wright, to be honest with you, because he knows his role. He could defend multiple positions. He's a point guard as well. Or I would be okay bringing in Trey Lyles, someone who could be a stopgap, if case one of the bigs has an issue, or Chris Boucher, someone who's going to offer I think more versatility than what we currently have. Buzzer says Brogdon or just wait for a buyout guy mid-season addition, which is what we usually do. Yeah, that's a good shout. AP salute. The streets are buzzing. Smashing that like button. 100%. I feel you on that, man. I do think Brogdon's experience would be really good for Kolek. Really good for Deuce McBride. For those guys to pick his brain, and he offers championship pedigree as well, fam. So I think that's a really good shout. As we continue to shout you guys out, let's move to the next topic of tonight's stream, which is I really want to take a deeper dive into how are we going to get the best out of three key Knicks? And the reason these are three key Knicks is because with regards to the other starters, Brunson and possibly Mitchell Robinson, we know what we're going to get. Deuce McBride, who could possibly start, we know what we're going to get. But in regards to these three guys, Cat, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby, right? There's a lot there. There's a lot left, I think, to work with these guys. And on any given night, it could be up, it could be down, it could be all around. And I do think that they are really, really going to be pivotal to the Knicks' chances of winning a championship, right? So we had a great update from B-Ball Index, right? So this was an update from last year's analytics, right? What were the things that the New York Knicks were great at, and what are some of the things that not so great at, right? Well, the obviously the great reason that we are, in a strong position is because we are the most elite, difficult shot making team, right? The half court shooting talent, we rank number 100th percentile, fam. Overall shooting talent, ranked number 100th shooting percentile. Self-created shooting talent, ranked number 2 at 96.6. Mid-range, number 2 as well. Floater, assisted shooting, and LeBron War and offensive LeBron, deep three-point shooting talent, ranked number 6. And LeBron ranking, number 7, with the 79th percentile. Now, what we're the lowest ranked at is obviously rim deterrence, man. And that was a lot of minutes with Karl-Anthony Towns. 3-point shot creation, we were ranked number 12. Pull-up, 3-point shooting talent, ranked number 9 as well. So, obviously understand going through the ups and the downs of last season, though, I do think we do need to work on our 3-point shooting in terms of getting more easier looks. Obviously, I want to talk next on these three key Knicks, regards to playing more effective. A lot of people are looking at the Knicks to play faster, but it's not just necessarily about pace, in my opinion. It's about playing more effective. What I mean by that is getting the ball in ideal situations, right? We can still play a slower half-court situation, but we can move the ball around, and we can get the ball into more effective situations, right? Brunson was obviously very, very ball dominant, right? So, with that said, guys, salute to everyone coming through the building. JM3, Knicks Nation, what's good? We got some restrictions with the buyout opportunities as well. We got the issues with Mook Morris. I see you, Buzzer. Yep. Hopefully he can get that sorted. We'll wait to find out more before I really, have a strong reaction about it, because it's quite fresh, that news that's just come out. Al Tango says I like Lyles or Coffee. Yep, those guys would be a solid pickup. Not gonna lie. So I want to look at the first New York Knick, which is Karl-Anthony Towns. Fam, Karl-Anthony Towns. So what we're looking at right now is the shot chart from Karl-Anthony Towns, courtesy of B-Ball Index. fam. Now, the first place I want to start is obviously, you see how good Karl Anthony Towns is as a play finisher. Look at his, high volume buckets in the restricted area or in the paint. And obviously, catch and shoot threes above the break. 41.6%, 49.5% on the left elbow, and 35.3% on the right elbow. So this is the regular season for Karl Anthony Towns. Not so much in the mid-range, but obviously a three-point sniper, a threat, and his volume in the paint. Now, I thought we did a really good job in the playoffs with Karl Anthony Towns down low. Obviously, they want to put a wing on him. We do have to, look at punishing those guys. I'm going to bring up the next graph now, which is postseason. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Karl Anthony Towns in the postseason. 58.2% at the rim, very strong. Above the break, though, 54% on the left elbow, but the right side elbow and straight on, not as effective, right? The playoff pressure, but obviously the looks have to get better. We have to put Cat in those situations with pick and pops, trailing as the big man as well. We know Cat's not going to be the first guy to beat everyone up the floor. So he's usually the trail guy. So we have to find better ways to get him those looks in the catch and shoot. But I want to look at the graph down below, fam. You look at the 3-point reps, the frequency. So he was a 53.7% frequency by the rim in the playoffs here, which is where he was most dominant. So that's good. But the frequency from three isn't enough for me. 26%, shooting 35% from downtown in the postseason. And I bring up the regular season back again. He was 59.3% frequency at the rim between 0 and 8 feet. So that's basically 60% of his shots at the rim. For such a 3-point threat that we made a major trade, right? We're playing him basically like he's Mitchell Robinson with just 27.8% frequency from three, although he was shooting 42% from three. So we have to get those 3-point attempts up. We have to get that frequency from Karl Anthony Towns up, right? That 3-point shooting is amazing and such a weapon. Yes, his play finishing at the basket was very solid as well. But the true strength of Karl Anthony Towns is he's the greatest 3-point shooting big man ever. And that's what he says. That's what he likes to hang his hat on as well. So I'm looking forward to Mike Brown getting more out of him with that way. Glenn says, "What up, CT? Great show as always. Cat is a good player. If we have Mitch out there to play center, I think Cat will be even better. Question is, can Mitch stay healthy? Salute." 100%. I think I want to see Mitch and Cat start. So that's my preference, Glenn. I would want to see those guys start together. So that means Cat can play more on the perimeter. Cat can play more on the perimeter, fam. And if I pull up that previous graphic that I had up on the screen, dealing with double teams, Karl Anthony Towns, fam, comes in at number 3. And dealing with touches being double teamed at 697, right? Just 50 behind Alfred Sengun and about 150 behind the Joker, right? He's ahead of Giannis, believe it or not, with touches coming out of the double team. Now, this is courtesy of All NBA Analytics. This is the 10 players who forced the most double teams, fam. And yes, as Paula says in the chat too, he needs to get into the paint too. and I think a lot of versatility that Mike Brown will bring on the offensive side. But yeah, Cat is an elite play finisher at the basket, but he's also elite in the catch and shoot. We do need to get more looks. We do need to turn these double teams into good looks for some other guys. We also need to get him more looks from the perimeter, fam. Now, the next nugget that I want to bring up, fam, is big time. This is a big time stat. Now, this is courtesy of NBA.com. Yep, got this up on the screen right now. So what are we looking at here, fam? We're looking at the league shot dashboard with touch time range. Right. I talked about play finishing, right? If I go to 6 seconds, so 6+ seconds or more, who are the guys that are on the ball a lot more? So no surprise. We've got these guys. Now let me just readjust. Let me just readjust this screen so that y'all can see the names. Okay, here we go. So with 6+ seconds on the ball, with a field goal attempt, obviously we're going to see Jalen Brunson. You got Shea, you got Luka, you got Harden, you got Cade Cunningham, and you've got Jalen Brunson coming in as the 5th guy in the league, top 5 guy, with a field goal attempt coming with 6 seconds on the ball. Right. What are we trying to do? We're trying to get Jalen Brunson make quicker decisions, right? Yes, he's going to be on the ball, but ideally we don't just want him taking the shot. As you see, he's taking 8.5 field goals with 6 seconds on the ball or more per game. So that's isolation heavy. Fam. That's isolation heavy. But on the flip side, as I go back to what I said before, let's change this baby to 0 to 2 seconds on the ball, right? What does it look like with these players that take a field goal with 0 or 2 seconds on the ball? Let's get these names up, fam. Nikola Jokic, quick decisions, grab it, go, grab it, pass, facilitate. You got Victor Wembanyama, Larry Markkinen, Vucevic, AD, Kristaps, Brandon Miller. Who comes after Brandon Miller? Mikal Bridges, ladies and gentlemen. So Mikal Bridges coming in with 9.3 field goal attempts a game with just 0 to 2 seconds on the ball. But guess what? There's more. Not far behind him is Karl Anthony Towns with just less than 2 seconds on the ball. He put up 8.7 attempts per game, fam. This is among the league's highest, right? You see how high these guys are ranked, fam. You basically got the Joker, 6. So Michael Porter's number 10. Beasley's about 15. So Cat's coming in at 17, 18 in the league. But guess what? There's more. Who's right underneath Karl Anthony Towns? It's OG Anunoby with 8.4 shots per game with less than 2 seconds on the ball. So not only do the Knicks have 1, but 2, they have 3 guys leading the league's top 20 in field goal attempts with less than 2 seconds on the ball. Fam. So we have some elite shot makers, but elite shot takers and play finishers as well, with reduced time on the ball. So with Brunson, with Brunson being in that situation where, he's on the ball for that long, right? We do have to get more versatile. We just quickly go back to 6+ seconds. I mean, you see Jalen Brunson coming in at number 5, right? So we got to get more effective in that way, right? And how do we do that? As I flick this over to the next graph, Karl-Anthony Towns, this is the 3-point shooting, fam, above the break. Actually, let me take a look at this next one. So this is the 3-point shooting dashboard, right? And this is catch and shoot. Ladies and gentlemen, you see, catch and shoot, right? We're talking about Karl-Anthony Towns, top 17 in the league at a field goal attempt with less than 2 seconds on the shot, less than 2 seconds on the ball. What does Karl-Anthony Towns shoot from catch and shoot from 3? He shoots 46%, fam. Right, 46%, and he shoots 66% effective field goal percentage, fam. You got PJ Tucker, obviously his attempts are very low, right? But in terms of shooters, catch and shoot, Karl-Anthony Towns shooting 46% with 66% effective field goal. And then third best, Nick, in catch and shoot is Landry Shamet at 44% from downtown, catch and shoot with 64% effective field goal percentage, right? So that's elite catch and shoot. If you're a team that wants to get more threes up and wants players to have less time on the ball and be elite play finishers, you're looking at Karl-Anthony Towns as the number 1 guy, right? He draws double teams, right? Top 20 in the league in attempts with less than 2 seconds on the ball. And his 3-point shooting, man, at a whopping 46% catch and shoot, which is deadly. And obviously it's great to see Landry Shamet there as well. It's obviously great to see Brunson, who's elite catch and shoot as well, 42%. How do y'all feel about that? Johnny says, as long as Mike Brown gets Wingstop involved, the game will open up for Cat and JB as opposed to Hero Ball from the ladder. Yep, definitely. I feel like too much attention has been talking about pace, right? Yes, ideally we want to see the ball, travel up the court faster. There's no doubt about that. But we don't need to change our identity completely, guys. We have elite play finishers. We just got to move the ball more and get guys in better positions. Obviously, it starts with Karl-Anthony Towns catching and shooting, and utilizing his ability to draw double teams, to kick the ball around. There's only so fast we can play with the lack of, ball handlers we have. So that's a major key when we're talking about Karl-Anthony Towns. As we go back to the original shot charts, fam, his frequency of shots are just 27% from behind the arc. Now, do you see why those two things don't align? How can a guy be 47% catch and shoot, but the percentage of his shots from 3 are only 27%? Now, I get it. He's elite in the paint. He's a great back to the basket kind of guy. But if you're 47% catch and shoot and you're shooting this well from behind the arc, I mean, we've got to get more attempts up, fam. Now, next up, just to give you an idea of his last season in Minnesota, keep an eye on that 3-point frequency down in the bottom right. As I flick over now, Cat's final season with Minnesota. So this is the 23-24 season with Minnesota. Right. Look at that frequency is a lot higher. 3-point reps frequency goes all the way up to 35%. So it was 27%. It's 35% frequency when he was with Minnesota. So that's meat on the bone for the Knicks to work on and to get more out of Cat, right? If he's top 20 in field goal attempts with less than 2 seconds on the ball, we're going to get those 3-point attempts up, fam. So Cat, a huge solution to the New York Knicks' ability to play faster and finish these plays off. But obviously, we've got to get him in these positions with pick and pops. I think pick and pops are key to get these 3-point shots up. I do think that obviously Brunson getting downhill and swinging the ball out back to Cat at the top of the key. Cat as the trail man is obviously another way that we can get those threes up, fam. So that is Karl Anthony Towns, and I look forward to seeing him, continue to, shoot well from downtown and in the paint. But obviously, we need more versatility from the other guys. And speaking of the other guys, right? The next guy I want to bring up and talk about is Mikal Bridges. Right, Mikal Bridges, and obviously if I go back to the stats before, we take a look at that as well with Mikal. But we take a look at his graph, right? Elite from the corner, both sides, but above the break is what we're really hoping to see a jump from Mikal Bridges, man. 30% from above the break. 3. So close to the opposite of Cat. What's up, Prezi? Salute. The opposite of Cat with Bridges, just 30% from above the break. Right, so deadly in the mid-range. Obviously a guy that we just saw projects to shoot a lot of his attempts with less than 2 seconds on the ball. So I think that's how he's effective in getting these mid-range shots up. But we do need to see a spike in above the break threes. So hopefully the jump shot coming into the season is a lot more smooth. And hopefully we see a big tick. One of the things that I like, though, is the frequency of his shots from 3 was 39%. So hopefully we can get that up a little bit more. I know he's great in the mid-range, but if we can get Mikal's frequency up even more from downtown, that means we're getting corner threes. That means we're getting more of these threes from above the break as well. Buzzer says, CT, have the projections for next year's MVP been released yet? Not that I've seen, fam. We will take a look at the odds in a future episode, but I do think it's going to be very interesting to see where Brunson ranks, fam, in terms of the odds and the projection. But obviously, just going off the top, I do think obviously the Joker, SGA, will probably be at the very top. Probably Luka as well. Altango 45 says, ball movement and better offensive play calling will take us to that next level. Less ISO, more movement. Yeah, and as we're touching on Mikal Bridges now, I like that he makes quick decisions. So that needs to be I want to highlight that Mikal Bridges is good at making quick decisions and getting shots up with less than 2 seconds on the clock. He's just got to continue to get to these spots in the mid-range, but he's got to be able to handle the ball more as well. if Brunson's to play off the ball, ideally a little bit more as well. But these above the break threes have to get better, fam. He can't just be a stand in the corner guy. We just don't have enough ball handling with the starting five. But I want to bring up the next graph, which is Bridges postseason. Postseason Bridges. Do y'all see any difference? So above the break in the corner, elbow, the corners were okay on the right elbow, but on the left side, man, 33% from the elbow, 25% from that corner, and obviously 20% from above the break. Straight from above the break as well. And obviously the mid-range wasn't great. He was solid at the basket, but a lot of room for improvement on the offensive side for Bridges, especially once again above the break. So that's Mikal Bridges. Now, if we just take a look at the NBA.com stats, right, when it comes to Mikal Bridges, above the break, 30%. That has to get a lot better. We look at all our Knicks. Look how far down he is, man, above the break. So even DeLon Wright, obviously shot less attempts, but DeLon Wright, Josh Hart, Shamet, Matt Ryan, OG, Payne, Deuce McBride, Brunson, Towns, and Dardier were better above the break than Mikal Bridges, right? Also, shout out to Deuce. I want to talk about Deuce in a future episode, but there's no surprise why Deuce is that high. You got Dardier, Towns, Brunson, and Deuce leading the percentage above the break threes, 81 of 218. Right, that's a massive case as to why Deuce McBride should start some games, or could start some games as well. Before we move over to OG, obviously I just want to speak on this again. If I go back to 2 seconds or less, right, you've got Mikal Bridges right there, fam. What is he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's 8th in the NBA in field goal attempts per game with less than 2 seconds. So that's something where he is sneaky at getting into good positions. He's also a good quick decision maker, quick trigger. All of these things you can work with. He just has to get more aggressive. Get to his spots, handle the ball more, get to his spots, be aggressive, and obviously hopefully the 3-point ball continues to get better, right? But we are sitting on a huge weapon that has a chance, guys, to get even better when it comes to a Mikal Bridges. Right. Now, next up, I want to talk about OG Anunoby, because OG Anunoby's regular season was excellent. Excellent. Johnny says, CT, freeing Mikal Bridges is key to the entire team playing together. You said it. You said it. That is a huge point, Johnny. He's the guy that's going to take more pressure off Brunson. He needs to be on the ball more. He's the guy that can bring the ball up the court, hopefully more like he did with Brooklyn. And with that said, I think he's a huge key. As is OG Anunoby, right? He's also top 20 with shot attempts with less than 2 seconds on the clock, right? Well, 2 seconds on the ball. Now, OG is an elite play finisher. Look at the basket. Most of his shots came via threes or dunks. Right, solid 38% from both corners, but above the break, a lot more as well. 37% from the left, 39% from the right, and 31% from straight. And this was OG's regular season. What I liked about OG as well is his frequency of shots from three was 44%. So that's basically half of his shots. Half of OG's shots are threes. You know, catch and shoot. He's a guy that is elite. I bring this back up. The catch and shoot numbers. OG doesn't need a lot of time on the ball. That's why he's super valuable. He needs more touches, he needs more shots, but he doesn't need more time on the ball. Right. Once he pounds the basketball, there's more of a chance it's going to be a turnover. But that doesn't mean that we can't feed OG. A lot more, guys. You see, 37.9% catch and shoot from downtown, fam. Basically 2 of 5 from downtown, catching and shooting. Yep, just to confirm, catch and shoot. You got Cat, Shamit, Brunson, Deuce, and OG. So elite play finishing abilities. And I like the shot distribution from OG Anunoby. Now, what would y'all like to see more for OG? I would like to see him be aggressive, obviously attacking those closeouts as well. He's effective. He was super effective attacking those closeouts. Now, the league knows that he's an elite three-point shooter, especially if he's getting an open catch and shoot. He'll lock it down. But if it's sort of half contested, he'll attack the closeout. And he's a strong finisher at the basket. David says OG can be a legitimate 20 points per game scorer. Yeah, he is. And I think his ability to play physical is key. His durability is key. Buzzer says CT, who are the top 5 Knicks players with the highest basketball IQ? That's a great question, Buzzer. In terms of IQ, let me bring up the list. Right now, I would say it's probably Brunson, number 1. Number 2, I would probably say is OG. I think OG has good IQ. I would say Mikal Bridges. Then I would probably say Hart. And then I would probably say Deuce McBride. Damn. Notice that I've left out Cat. I've left out Mitchell Robinson. Who else have I left out? That's basically the rotation there, fam. So yeah, I'd say Brunson. I'd say OG. I'd say Mikal. I would say Deuce. And I would say Hart. Fam. With their college pedigree. Johnny says Knicks undoubtedly have the best wing stop in the league. Yeah, it's about getting more out of these guys. You know, skip pass up the court. That's something that I want to see more of as well with Brunson, right? If Brunson's going to be on the ball, doesn't mean he has to, sprint the ball up the court. Just simply skip pass, get the ball up the court quickly via the pass. OG's usually in the corner. The quicker he gets the ball in the corner, he can attack the closeout. We got to see a lot of that. Now, next I want to bring up OG's postseason. Look at OG's postseason numbers, fam. Look at that shooting above the break, fam. That's what we need more of. 52%. from the right elbow, 45% from straight, 36% from the other side, from the elbow, but he struggled in the corners. OG struggled in the corners in the playoffs. And I got a feeling I know why. Because when it comes to OG, our offense was so slow, he wasn't able to get clean looks in the corner. We all know OG's elite, shooting those corner threes. But why was his playoff corner threes so bad? With 27% on one side, 23% on the other. Well, it's because most of those were contested. Right, we weren't getting the ball up to him quicker. It was late shot clock. Brunson on the ball too long, and also the defense. The defense. Clamping down. But what was encouraging was obviously above the break, and what is encouraging is his frequency. In the graph in the bottom right, his 3-point shots frequency accounted for 50%. 50% of his shots. Now that's probably a little bit too high. You probably want OG to get more looks back to the basket, attacking the paint. So I think that's probably an area of improvement for our offense, is to get OG attacking the rim, drawing fouls, using his physicality, his size. But I do like that his 3-point frequency is high. It's probably just a little too high in terms of his shots. 34% of his shots came at the rim. If we can get OG's shots at the rim to be 50%, I like those odds, because he's either going to finish strong or he's going to draw a foul. But yeah, I do see you, as Altango 45 says, OG has poor handles. Others have to get him the ball more often in his spots. This falls on our coach. Yep, 100% agree. Quick ball movement and getting OG into his spots a lot quicker. And as we've seen tonight, he's elite at being efficient with less than 2 seconds on the ball. Right. That's a quality skill, guys. We have 3 of the top NBA guys with less than 2 seconds on the ball, with Bridges, Cat, and OG Anunoby. And that's why I wanted to draw this spotlight on these guys. Because it's not just about playing fast. It's about making good decisions, quick decisions, and also having proper spacing. Right. If the floor is spaced adequately, these guys can make their quick decisions and finish the play with less than 2 seconds. When the spacing is awful, then chances are they're going to have to spend more than 2 seconds, on the ball. And the percentage is going to drop. Now, I just bring up his regular season from the corners. Look at the corners in the playoffs here versus the corners in the regular season. I mean, it's basically doubled, almost a 40% shooter from the corners. So I do think there's a lot more we could see from OG in the playoffs specifically, but obviously his 3-point shooting above the break is what we badly need. But last but not least, I just want to speak on Deuce McBride again, because, right, there's a real reason why people were talking about Deuce McBride, his ability to start. Fam, look at this, catch and shoot. He was basically the 4th best guy. I mean, I don't include PJ Tucker because he wasn't in the rotation, right? So let's start with Cat number 1, Shamet number 2, JB number 3. Deuce McBride was the 4th best Knick at catch and shoot with 40%, 1.2 out of 3 attempts. Now, the criminal thing is we need to get that higher. We do need to get Deuce McBride's 3-point attempts up. And hopefully now with the bench playing a lot faster, and hopefully he can play more minutes alongside JB, because we know that Tibbs wasn't a big fan of playing, Deuce with JB. But with Miles Deuce McBride's ability to shoot this well, he has to see a bigger role. He has to. So he's more effective catch and shoot than OG and Bridges as well. So that's an effective wing right there. Undersized wing, but an effective one, fam, when it comes with that. Now I go back to the 6 seconds or less, right? What I want to change is where was it? I think was it this one? Yes, this one here. Now, I want to go back to 6 seconds or more, guys. That's the list, right? We see Brunson with his shots, 8.5 attempts with 6+ seconds on the ball, right? Obviously, he's our most ball dominant guy. But there's another guy now we have to pay attention to, ladies and gentlemen, who's very high on the list. His name is Jordan Clarkson, ladies and gentlemen. So he ranks among these guys, among the CJ McCollums, Jordan Pools, Colin Sexton, Schroeder, Tyrese Halliburton, probably top, I would say this is what, top 40, top 30, top 40 guys in shot attempts with 6+ seconds on the ball. So we've got Brunson, we've got Clarkson now. So those guys have to make quick decisions and pass the ball a lot quicker. So there we go. We've got 2 guys that are really ball dominant and 4 guys that are elite at finishing the play. But just going back to Cat's ability to draw double teams, man, this was huge because he draws more double teams than Giannis, more doubles than Ant-Man and Devin Booker as well. So that's big time. Yet Russell, 100%, we need easier shot possessions. Yep. Yep, great question about the IQ. You guys let me know. Who do you think's the top 5 guys in IQ? Russell also says Deuce is too small. That's a factor, definitely. I think you could try to look at ways you could get around that and get away with it. If you're playing small lineups, a lot of teams do play 3 guards now. So you got to figure out when can you seize those opportunities to play 3 guard alignments. And if you are playing a team that plays 3 guards, great. That's your chance to get Deuce out there. But also Mikal Bridges post-ups were effective too. But I think with Cat, to summarize, with Cat, OG and Mikal, and those guys effective putting up shots with less than 2 seconds on the ball, those guys just have to keep moving as well. It's not just about ball movement. We need the player movement. With Tibbs, there was a lot of stagnation. Right. We need a lot more cutting. We need a lot more setting screens. Okay. Resetting a screen and then set another screen, and the players keep cutting and keep moving. And eventually the ball will find Cat, OG, or Mikal in a good position where they can finish the play. If it's Brunson standing around on the ball, top of the key, but the other guys are standing in the corners, they're not moving, and Cat can't set an effective pick, well, Brunson's just going to have to create a shot for himself. And so that's where I think we need more ball handlers that can break down the defense, but we do need players to move. And like our Tango 45 says, CT, I can see Clarkson play some point guard for us. Yeah, 100%. I think he will. I think he'll play serious minutes as the point guard. We do know that the organization really likes to see Deuce McBride off the ball as well, fam. So, Deuce McBride, we showed you top 4 in the club in catch and shoot threes. So Deuce McBride off the ball as a weapon, Brunson off the ball as a weapon as well is key, as we see OG as well. And guess what? What does that mean for Mitchell Robinson? If those guys are making quick shot attempts and quick decisions, it means Mitch can get in position to grab that rebound. He can get in position real quick and grab that rebound and get putbacks, alley-oops as well. Right. The longer we take time to get those shots up, the slower we play, the less opportunities for Mitch to get that tip in or tip back, an alley-oop lob threat. I do want to see Mikal Bridges set more screens as well. A lot more two-man game between Brunson and Bridges. I think Bridges is probably one of our best screen setters at the guard spot. I think OG sets really good screens as well. Cat, he needs to improve in that area. Mitchell Robinson, really effective at setting good screens. Yabusele and Hart and Huck Porty can set really good screens as well. So I think, it starts with the pick. Frees guys up, and they could get more separation. David M. Salute says, I'm interested to see how much Hart's role will change with us. Yeah, David, and I'm looking forward to focus on those guys next episode with guys that I didn't speak about tonight. I'll speak more on Hart. I'll speak more of Deuce, Mitchell Robinson, and Brunson. But tonight I wanted to highlight Cat, OG, and Mikal as those guys that could give us more and are elite play finishers. But in terms of Hart, David, I do think his minutes are going to go down. He's probably going to look and feel more fresh closing games out. But I do think Hart can make better decisions on the half court. And also he needs to play better defense as well. I think his defense suffered a little bit in the playoffs, did Hart, just because I think he was so tired. I think Hart was just so gassed. Also, we know he was banged up with the hand. He had the finger operation as well. Buzzer says, CT, is Markel Fultz a good fit for us? I'll probably say not a great fit because Markel Fultz likes to be on the ball a lot. Buzzer, we have Clarkson, we have JB. Now, Markel Fultz is really his best when he's on the ball a lot, fam. He's not a really good off the ball guy. His jump shot form is awful, fam. He's kind of like a Ben Simmons off the ball, which could be the reason why he's not in the league no more as well. But we have a lot of guys that are excellent off the ball, catching and shooting. Deuce, Mikal, OG, and Cat. We have a couple of guys that are really dominant on the ball with Clarkson and JB. Now, two guys that I'm looking at is obviously to pass the ball a lot more is Hart and Kolek. Those guys are effective playmakers, and we might need to utilize their ball handling abilities a lot more, right? Mikal Bridges does need to be on the ball more. That needs to go up. But I do like Mikal off the ball as well because he cuts well. 2 dribbles, pull up, shot attempt, 2 seconds or less. But the guys that need to set those guys up are obviously Brunson and Clarkson. But we need some juice from Hart, and we need some juice from TKO as well, fam. I think we will get a little bit out of Tyler Kolek this season. We just need some playmaking, right? Even if it's for 10 minutes a night. just pass first point guard, get the guys in their spots, and we know he's great at swinging the ball around and finding guys. But we need that from Hart as well. So, yeah, I'm kind of torn in terms of the point guard situation now. I'll probably lean towards Shamet, Amir Coffey, Trey Lyles, or Chris Boucher. Fam. I think Kolek can give us a little bit of juice, just passing. Hart, Mikal Bridges, Clarkson, and Brunson. But I think, yeah, a guy like a DeLon Wright could help us because he could play off the ball a little bit. He's a good defensive player. But I do like Amir Coffey. I do like Shamet's ability to be a good catch and shoot guy. You know, one of the best catch and shoot threes on the team. 3 and D. Also, I like, Trey Lyles. Chris Boucher could give us a little bit more versatility as well. Russell says, I want another big. Chicago might buy out Vooch. He's 20 and 10 every night. Yeah, look, Vooch is kind of a 6-man. That's intriguing. I don't know if I'd start Vooch because you've got Cat. You can't play those two together, fam. But if Vooch is willing to welcome the next stage of his career, which is a 6-man type on this team, I think that could work. I just don't know if you can play Cat and Vooch together. I don't think you can. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he gets bought out. I do think he's probably going to take a role where he could get on another team and get more reps. So that's going to be interesting to see as well. As I said, guys, the buyout market, man, it's the new free agency. El Tango says, I think Hart's play will be determined on which team we face. I think the blueprint is out. Mike Brown's got a lot of film to look at. They do obviously like to put a big on Hart, and they like to put the wing on Cat. And that way, if Cat draws the double team, the big can then sag off of Hart, to go close out on Cat. So I think Hart's just going to have to be on the ball a little bit more, make decisions, play with the ball, and making those plays. I think Hart just has to work on catch and shoot as well. I think we all know that Hart's not going to be a plus 3-point shooter, in his career. But if he can get better to the point where, okay, you got to give the big something to think about in terms of how far can they sag off. And if Hart makes quick decisions and he just gets in the gym and works on catching, shooting, no hesitation, catch, shoot, no hesitation. The moment he starts to put the ball on the floor and the play has to reset, and the shot clock goes down, we're screwed. But if Hart just catches, shoots with spacing, maybe it gives the chance for Mitchell Robinson to get that rebound. The defense is a bit chaotic. I think once Hart starts to hesitate, man, it works against us, and that is the reason why these other coaches are putting a big on Josh Hart, and they're putting Hart's opponent on Cat. But I think projecting forward, I think Hart's not going to play with the starting unit. No more. I think Hart is going to be a bench player from here on out, fam. I think Josh Hart's second chapter with the New York Knicks will start now as a bench player. Now, he might close games out, but I think he'll be starting off the bench for the foreseeable. Rasul Thomas says playing at the 5 and have Mitch come off the bench. So you want to see Vooch start. I just don't think that'll work well with Cat. Defensively, it'll be really challenging. Buzzabita says, I can't wait to see our second team play. Yeah, I'm super hyped. I think we can add one more defensive versatile wing, like Al Tango says, Lyles or Coffey. We missed out on Ben Simmons, it looks like. We don't really know how serious the injury, the interest was, fam. But again, I think it's going to block the pathway of Dardier, McCullough, Diawara, Dink Pate. It's probably a good thing we don't get a guy like Ben Simmons, fam. Get a guy who's going to be comfortable being situational, like Shamit, DeLon Wright. My concern with Amir Coffey is maybe he's hoping for a bigger role. We'll wait and see. But basically, this time of year of free agency, guys, all of the spots are drying up. You know, there ain't many rotation spots available on any team, not just the Knicks, on any team. You know, so these free agents can't get picky, man. I think we're at a point now where these guys just going to be happy getting on a roster, fam, and getting that check. Talking about Gary Payton, Lyles, Brogdon, Boucher, Cody Martin, Delano Banton's another good one. Alec Burks. Now, Alec Burks is a good catch and shoot guy, and he can dribble. So I wouldn't be mad bringing in Alec Burks as a bit of a hybrid point guard / off the ball shooting guard as well. But I do think we'd probably put Landry Shamet ahead of Alec Burks, old AB. Right, so that wraps it up for tonight's stream. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Appreciate the patience as well. Apologies for the earlier stream, which got cut short due to some tech issues on the YouTube side. But as we wrap it up, we'll be back on the weekend. We'll be back Friday or Saturday night for the next update. We'll talk about Deuce. We'll talk about Hart. We'll talk about Mitch. Right. But Jason Benjamin with a super chat says, at this point, I like the upside of Coffey, in my opinion. I agree, Jason. I think good upside. My only concern is what kind of role is he looking for? But everyone loves winning, baby. Everyone loves to be, in a major market with the ability to contend. So that's a selling point right now. So that's a really, really good selling point. I do think bringing in one bigger name, like a Trey Lyles, Banton, Malcolm Brogdon, Amir Coffey, I think that's got to be one of the holdups, right? There's got to be more to it than just, why aren't we bringing back Landry? So I trust the front office. Can't wait to see who else Mike Brown adds to the staff. And we take it from there, guys. Have a blessed evening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.